Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC. Welcome to episode 1 of Wrestling on the Rocks. I'm at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR, the show. With me today, oh my God, he's back again. We got one half of the legendary podcasting duo, the Ironics. Kevlar, say what's up.
What's up? That was even worse than anything else.
If I can start any show where I just upset you to the core, then I know we're doing all right. Thank you guys for coming through on episode 1 with us on debut episode 1. Imagine that. We have Miss StephanieHypez from Worked with SS, Worked with Steph and Steph. Say hello, Stephanie.
What's up? I'm so happy to be here.
Long time, first time?
First time.
Yeah. Yeah, imagine that. You made it to episode 1. It's incredible. What are the odds?
You know, it's been a long time coming, and I'm just, a couple seasons in here, and it's about time, is what I'm saying.
A few seasons of episode 1s. It's all right. We don't get to episode 2 till we'll get episode 1 right. If there's one thing we do right, it's get episode 1 wrong. So we're just stuck on a loop. Fab-Tina in the chat. Cheers. Man, let's just start with something simple. Get it going.
Producer Lady is here on the side. I don't get an intro, but I'm here.
Producer Lady here.
That's his really horrible impression.
I'll give her a shout out. Go, girl.
I know. Finally, there's a tag team. Miss Producer Lady's not alone.
You got
anymore.
that right. You got that right.
I'll
Producer Lady StephanieHypez. We're about to win those tag team titles that are non-existent.
Actually, we got a replica one right over there. So, Stephanie, tell us a little bit about your show for anybody who's new to you through us.
Well, actually, it's funny. I just started my own show at Worked with SNS. I guess about a month ago. I don't know. We talk about everything wrestling, rumors. We keep it positive, though. We keep it positive, folks. I absolutely love talking about pro wrestling. So we do. So go follow us over there. Before that, I'm just known as the Wrestling Hype Woman. So that's what I do. I hype up mostly women's wrestling the most because the women of pro wrestling are amazing. The men are awesome as well. What can you do, right?
Yeah. Every now and again, I find Producer Lady Googling up Ricochet abs because I think she really likes his wrestling.
Oh my God.
He's really good at wrestling.
I swear, one time, I looked at WWE, what's popular on Instagram this week? And it just so happened to have Ricochet's picture, and since then, it's always just thinking I'm looking.
Just so happened to be stuck on the screen for quite some time. Whatever. Whatever.
Look,
he's a good wrestler.
You know why I know this is a lie? Because if you're going to look up abs, you're going to look up Finn Balor.
That's a good point.
I'm just saying I don't make the rules.
That's true. That dude looks like he's got a bunch of chicken breasts just taped to his stomach. They're just so prominent.
That's how I got abs.
Yeah. Well, yeah, guys, you can check out at Worked with SS to check out the Worked with Steph and Steph. Is it Steph and Steve?
It's Steph and Steph because his name's Steven, but he spells it with a PH. And my name's Stephanie, and I spell it with a PH. Steph and Steven.
That's true, but if he pronounces it Steven, I feel like even with the spelling, it'd be Steph and Steve. But it's kind of funny because if you say Steph and Steph, then no one has first booking.
That is why we did it. Do you understand now? Do you get it? No one is more important than the other because we're both Steph and Steph.
I hope you call him Stefan.
I don't.
During the show.
I think I just call him Big Head or something. I don't know what I call him.
Right on. Well, Stephanie, as our guest drinking buddy, let us know what's in your glass. What are you drinking tonight?
Hold on.
Sorry, I have some rum and Coke.
My apologies.
Nice. Disguised in a McDonald's cup, so the kids don't know.
Nice.
See, I thought that means you just came from like a parent-teacher conference, and I was like, yo, my folks did the same thing.
You know, I've never done that before for a parent-teacher conference, but now Thank you for that idea. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, because they just think you brought us those. Goof Streams in the chat says, have y'all talked about Stone Cold and Kevin Owens yet? We have not. We're just getting through introductions. We're just saying hello to everybody. Thank you for bringing the rum and Coke, Steph. It's not about what you're drinking, it's who you're drinking with, so we're happy to have you on as drinking buddy. Kevlar, what's in your glass?
Yep. Just some good old-fashioned Crown. The OG stuff.
The OG Crown. We had like a Resting on the Rocks bag, right, that we had it described. We did all sorts. We thought we were going to get sponsored by them at one point. Nah, they don't care how much you drink. They just let you keep drinking it. I'm having vodka and sweet tea because I found a Keto Sweet Tea and it's changed my whole life. Yeah. Everything's different now.
There's a Keto Sweet Tea?
Oh, you're damn right there is. By Gold Peak. It is the sweetened tea, sugar-free, zero sugar sweet tea.
I've seen it before. I didn't realize.
Yeah. Yeah, it tastes just like Popeye sweet tea, and it's amazing.
I'm writing
zero
this
carbs,
down
zero
right
sugars.
now.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this was gonna be a learning show as well. This is great, guys.
No, it's all about the drinks too. Sponsored, not sponsored. What we say today, we're sponsored by Gold Peak, not sponsored by Gold Peak. And I'm just having I put Svedka in it because sweet tea should have Swedish vodka, right, to make it even sweeter.
I don't think that's how that works, but we'll go with it. Sure. It makes sense.
It makes sense up here.
Checks out. What do you got?
I've got my wine.
What was that, wine?
Oh, what? What is it?
Ooh.
Born of Fire, I believe is what it's called.
It makes sense. You're Latina.
The
heat.
wire. Wait, that's the name.
Latina heat.
That's the type of wine.
Yep, it's called Born of Fire.
That's the brand name.
Yeah, it was a gift.
Yeah, we don't know a lot about it, but it looks like a good bottle, and she also was born of fire.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I like it.
Had my moments.
Uh,
All right, we get it.
yeah, let's just do. Well, you know what? We'll shout out New Wave real quick, just because we're talking about sponsored, not sponsored. We're also sponsored by Flow State Coffee, a specialty grade coffee with L-theanine and raw cacao for creativity and activity. Better energy, focus, and mood than a regular cup of coffee while decreasing negative side effects like jitters and crash, anxiety, blood pressure. If you go to newwave.co, NOOWAVE.co, and put in promo code CHEERS, you can get 10% off, and the deals stack. So if they have another deal, like I know they were doing like 40% off, they were doing their new K-Pods and everything like that, you can add our promo code and it'll give you an additional 10% off any other deals they got going on. So the guys over there are really cool. The owner of it, the main guy, his name's Greg. He'll message you direct. He'll email you direct. He's a massive wrestling fan. If you notice, the font is from the Cow Pony? No, not Cow Pony. What's the one in San Francisco? What's the big venue? What was the big venue in San Francisco? Cow Palace. It's got the Cow Palace font.
Like Cow Pony.
The Cow Pony is the place out here.
Kind of ghetto.
No, totally different. But he's got the Cow Palace font. He was trained by Lance Storm. He's an indie wrestler, which is why we like him, because we support indie wrestling while still having our coffee. So I'm going to do it and keep doing it.
Nice.
Let's hit a little bit of news. We just do something lighthearted to start with. We got birthdays. I know that on our Thursday episode ones, Amanda gets so into the birthdays, so I'm gonna steal her thunder a little bit. But we got Bruce Pritchard, Harland, Freddie Prinze Jr., and Chad Gable were all the ones that I saw this week. So cheers and happy birthday to all of them. Shoosh! Thank you. Do you think when Chad Gable, when they sing happy birthday, it's like happy birthday to a you?
Yeah, that's how they do it.
There's got to be.
With,
I feel like.
You. With the fingers. You.
Yeah.
So
And
why
then-
Freddie Prinze Jr. randomly?
Not
He's a
randomly.
wrestling fan.
Oh yeah.
Not only is he a
He loves
wrestling
pro
fan,
wrestling.
he's former creative from WWE, and he started his own wrestling podcast. I'm glad you asked, Kev. Called Wrestling with Freddie. It's the true WWF. And he talks about all the different things that he went through while he was working for WWE, how he got there, different stories. That Kofi Gauntlet match, he talked all about that. He wrote that Gauntlet match and that storyline years before they ever played it through. He wrote it for when he was in the thing with Randy that ended with the stupid. They end up rehashing it later on, and he was really excited about it. But so he's a big wrestling guy, which is why I throw it out there.
I knew he
we're
was a
pretty much-
wrestling fan, but I didn't know he worked for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we're basically best friends. He's like tweeted back at me like twice, so we're pretty much.
This
Like,
is
I'm
the second thing I've learned tonight. One moment.
Yeah.
That's the only one though.
Pretty.
If sometimes he tweets out to fans and he'll say, "Welcome to the Federation."
Federation, yeah. Welcome to the Federation. I love it. It's hysterical every time.
I want to be part of the Federation. Let me tweet him real quick.
Yeah, you got to tweet at him, and he'll get you in that Federation. Yeah,
big
I mean, he's
at
tweeted at
Freddie.
me like
How do I
twice, so I
join?
feel like it's a little weird he didn't invite me to his birthday party. But maybe he knows I don't live in LA. That has to be it, I think.
It's only like
It's a big commitment.
8-hour drive.
It's a big commitment. The other thing we saw, Sasha Banks, John Cena, The Rock, and Austin Creed are all nominated for Kid Choice Awards Nickelodeon. I just thought that was really cool and notable, especially because out of the entire wrestling world, they're the only ones who I saw at all on there. And that's always the conversation, right? Is WWE still relevant? Are they still making stars? Do people care? Are casual fans interested? Who's a bigger star on this brand or that brand? At the end of the day, like when when like outside companies like the ESPYs or like the Kids' Choice Awards are pointing at wrestlers,
Yeah.
those people they're pointing at are ones that you go, oh, that's a fucking star.
Well, I thought that was really cool. So Cena, you kind of expect. The Rock, you kind of expect, right?
Yeah.
Xavier and Sasha was kind of the shockers for me. Not because they don't deserve to be nominated, but because I'm looking at. So let's just take Sasha for a second. She's next to Simone Biles and Serena Williams, right? And all these amazing women athletes. And Sasha's amazing herself. That's to me, that was just awesome.
Yeah.
It's just awesome that they have included a pro wrestler, but Sasha in general. Like I was just kind of like, wow, like these are all world-class athletes. So they are putting her on that pedestal. And I love that for her. I love that for pro wrestling. I just want to see more of it. And Xavier, he does amazing work with up, up, down, down. So I'm not shocked. That was also very amazing to see him.
Yeah, 100%. I agree because I also thought it was notable. Sasha Banks was in the female sports star section. She wasn't in there for the stuff that people try to point at and say, look, here's how she's crossover. She does Star Wars. She did this other thing or another. I don't remember all the things. I don't know all of her accolades, but she's done a few things outside of just being a wrestler and outside of just being Star Wars. And so the idea that they are noting her as a sports star was awesome. And yeah, obviously Xavier Woods, Austin Creed does G4. He does up, up, down, down. The reason that made me so happy was, I don't know if you listened to the New Day podcast when they had it going live, but there was a whole episode when he was injured and he was talking about how scared he was while injured, thinking, is there a career for me on the other side of this? And that's why he does things like up, up, down, down, and G4 is because he wants to not only build his legacy, but to build his future. So to see that community has accepted him and embraced him on such a high level. I mean, it didn't say Xavier Woods on there. It said Austin Creed.
It said Austin
and he's
Creed.
in there
It did.
for favorite male creator, you know, like.
Yeah. That's amazing. An honor.
I also think it's awesome just because in those times where he wasn't, when he was injured and not wrestling, he was, I think, just building his brand, and he was before when they were allowed to go on Twitch, and then lo and behold, like, he ends up on G4, like not by mistake, like he's really been putting in the work creatively, and I just think that's so awesome.
And the fact he's injured now and is still nominated right now, it's like that's got to feel good because he's got to be in that spot again where he's got in his own head, you know?
Yeah, I just feel like all the nominated people, I feel like, are people who've just been constantly working at it.
Yeah.
And that's just so cool to see them praised outside of, our little bubble.
Yep. It's more than a slammy, that's for sure.
It's definitely more than slamming. It's a step up for sure.
Just small.
Or a step up, not down, down.
Oh,
Nice.
oh, that's wild. She used a code. She had a cheat code.
Plenty more of those, folks.
Yeah, they're keep them coming. Goofstream says, I hope we see him have the title around his waist before he retires. That man deserves it. Like, he's the reason we got New Day. He is the reason we got New Day. I don't mind having that quick conversation. I am not of the belief that all of my favorites have to be world champion at one given time or any given time. I think some of these careers speak for themselves on their own. Like, I mean, I got a giant Roddy Piper display behind me, and that dude never got near a world title. I don't think you need to be a world. I think it's awesome that us as fans still believe in the world title. And I would obviously love to see Sami Zayn as the universal champion at some point. But at the end of the day, I am not less entertained or think that he's doing less of a good job because he doesn't have that title. You know what I mean? What do you think, Steph? And then we'll go to Kev.
Well, so even Xavier himself even said it. He said he got King of the Ring and he can retire happy now. Like that, like
Great
the
call.
King of the Ring title was his Mount Rushmore, right? And he did it. He's not even talking about the Universal title. I'm sure that would be a great accolade, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's not even for him. He was like, I'm good. I won King of the Ring. That was my goal in life since I was a little boy, was to win King of the Ring. He did it. Unfortunately, got injured right in the middle of it. But hopefully when he's back, he'll be able to pick it back up. But either way, like he's met his Mount Rushmore in pro wrestling as far as he was concerned. So to your point, yes, we all want our favorites to be world champions. I don't know. Over the years, I've come to the realization that there are some wrestlers who are just good workers and they just want to put on great matches. And, you know, they're not meant to be the top guy, but if they're right in the middle and they're constantly being used, that's all you can really ask for, right?
Yeah. King of the Ring was definitely his flowers for sure. Kev, what do you think real quick? I want you to weigh in.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing about the King of the Ring. Like, that's what he wanted. He got it. I just don't want people to think that, you know, if he doesn't become Universal or World Champion, then, you know, he's a failure type of thing, you know?
Yes.
Just because we want to see it doesn't mean...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I'm in it. Let's see. I don't have anything else on that. I just wanted to shout that out. And then I've only got one other piece of news, and then we can talk about the shows if you guys are into that.
Yeah, that works.
The last thing that I had was I wanted to just bring it up because it was announced the way that it was announced, and it's only not really part of the show. Vader is going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame posthumously.
What?
That's a word.
It's not.
That's a word.
Okay.
Post-human.
Yeah, posthumanosity. Posthumanely.
All right, you're done.
Vader is going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame alongside The Undertaker.
Yes.
What a mess this Hall of Fame is, right? They're just letting anybody in nowadays.
I know, right?
Yeah, wasn't it Just in Time called it, or was it Just in Time that wanted that?
Just the time wants everybody in the Hall of Fame, but I agree. And plus, his logo is Vader, so you might just been associating him with Vader. Plus, he's a massive human being, Justin.
Like,
But either way.
I personally was one of those ones who was like, I'm actually okay if Undertaker was the only one inducted.
Yeah.
This year, I was okay with that. I'm also completely happy that Vader is going as well. So either way, they both deserve it. I don't know. Taker is going to take up. I think it's also like with the Smackdown or something. The Hall of Fame this year. It's like Smackdown and Hall of Fame. I guess Undertaker could take up a whole night by himself for just really being honest. So
yeah,
see how this goes.
I've liked the idea some people have had where you have multiple people induct him. But knowing full well that we're going to get Vince McMahon induct Undertaker, I don't know if you want to be the dude who goes after Vince McMahon to induct The Undertaker also. You know what I mean? Like, I think
Undertaker's going to be last. I would assume.
Last, yeah.
Yeah, like Vader will go in before him.
You know, I meant like people were talking about having multiple people induct. Like if Vince inducted Undertaker, Mick Foley might come out and say something too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think if you're having Vince introduce The Undertaker, that's it. Like, you don't follow that. So you're right. It'll be last. But I wonder if they're going to have any other, like, I mean, not to sound shitty, but like living legends be inducted too, or if they're only going to do like the post humanist and Undertaker. Like, I just wonder. Because I think it'll be a small class. I don't think it's going to be a 6-7 like they've been doing. You know
I don't think so either. I mean, if we're going along with trends here, maybe China by herself.
Yeah, that could be. That wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be bad at all.
Just saying.
Well, I would just think that they would need some living, you know, since the whole Undertaker gimmick's the dead man. Like,
That's true. Yeah, you don't want.
They need one. Yeah. Like, but I think Vader, like, I'm glad he's finally in it, but I think this should have happened, like, while he was living.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Agree.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think it's really cool actually this year so far having like Vader and Undertaker. Like, I always think it's silly first off when anybody hears somebody being inducted to the Hall of Fame and their immediate reaction is they don't deserve that. I'm like, well, Just because you...
Who says that?
Well, in general. I'm not saying about Vader or Undertaker. I'm glad that right now we're getting stars on the level where it's just like, if you even like hinted it, it's like, this is awful. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I love it.
Someone
I like
always
when they
has
just have big old
something negative
shoes,
to say.
right? Look, even if I wouldn't vote for someone for Hall of Fame, the last thing I'm going to try and do is knock someone down for going into the Hall of Fame. It's already done. Like, what do you know what I mean? You go, oh, okay, interesting. Good for them. Like,
Clap and move on, people.
yeah. Clap and keep it moving. Interesting. Let's see. That's all I got for news. We can get into the shows. Fabtina asking if we talked about Vince on Pat's show. We talked about it last week, and I don't think Kev's seen it. Stephanie, did you see Vince on Pat McAfee?
Saw it, and I loved it, and it was amazing. We can talk about it if you want. But it's literally everything I would have wanted in an interview with the chairman of WWE.
Wasn't it just... The thing that got me is around 30 minutes in, I was like, holy shit, he is just hanging out. Like, this
Like,
is it.
Just chilling.
Yeah.
In his Asics,
Yeah.
in his Asics and jeans. I was like, what is happening? Cussing? I'm like, what is like, you're just hanging. Pat McAfee is hanging out with Vince McMahon right now.
Yeah.
Every other old man. He's
Yeah.
got sneakers on. He's probably very comfortable.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Oh, yeah, he gets these ones because they're comfy, and I mean, and then and then he was like witty, like when McAfee was like
Yeah.
saying something like Michael Cole's been there for 24 years. He goes, horrible person, horrible. I was like,
It shows you Vince the human. I was just mentioning this on my show earlier. Like,
Yeah.
I think you have to really think about this. He hasn't done an interview like this in 15 years, right? I'm in my 30s. So I was a kid last time he did an interview like this.
Mhm.
So there's literally children or people who weren't even probably alive, or at least maybe very, very young last time he did an interview like this. So I think most people have this thought of him in their head built up of rumors, or they've seen the Vince McMahon character or whatever, and they've never seen the human side of Vince, if you will. And I thought it did a very good job of showing the human side of him as well as the business side of him, kind of getting into his business brain a bit, right? Like, he's very nonchalant. He doesn't sweat the small stuff. And I think a lot of people are like, well, why doesn't he respond to all these things? And over 40 years, you can't respond to all the criticism, and you can't respond and take everything to heart. And I think people need to realize he's thinking way bigger pictures than we would ever even dream of. So, you know, I love the interview. I love the human moments. There were some human moments that I wasn't expecting. He got choked up when he said he was inducting Undertaker into the Hall of Fame, right? And the other one was when he said he was going to take his last breath, or if he was hit by a bus tomorrow, before I take my last breath, I just want a chance to say thank you. And he kind of paused before he said it, because again, he started getting choked up again. And I was kind of like, I came to the realization, because I think Pat said it, his mother lived to 101. And he's like, that's the benchmark, right? But putting into perspective, within the next 20 years or so, Vince McMahon's going to be gone.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize the significance of that. You know what I mean? Pro wrestling wouldn't be at the heights and levels it is today in the mainstream or in the public eye without Vince McMahon, whether you like him or not. So I don't know. I hope people appreciate what he's done for the pro wrestling sports entertainment industry overall.
And I told Marsh a while ago that, you know, like, I think it's probably like a year or two ago, that people are lucky that he didn't retire like, you know, a normal person like 10 plus years ago. Because you're a billionaire. Do you think if we were billionaires, we'd be doing any work?
No.
Well, and he was hammering that point home a lot.
I
He
would
was just
still
saying,
be
like,
on
he's
the
never worked.
show,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But work? No. No.
Yeah.
No, like, I mean, even he made a joke about it, right? He was like, I don't know what's in my bank account. Like, and Pat's like, it's a lot. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he even thinks about those things. He knows he has money, right?
Yeah.
I truly don't think he really ever checks.
Yeah.
I really don't think he does.
And I don't think that he thinks of it in a stressful way. It's not like how we get up and go, fuck, I gotta go to work. He gets up because he's got things to do, and these are all things he wants to do, and so it's a whole different mindset altogether.
And he said,
I'd also,
I think he said,
go ahead.
Sorry,
Go
I
ahead.
know. I think he said it's not work
Yeah.
for him, right? He was like, "This
Yeah.
isn't work. I'm having fun and doing what I love. This is not
Yeah.
work."
I even he kind of told McAfee and the boys that what they were doing wasn't really work either. I liked it. It was great. But it was, yeah, it was great. I would also venture to say that it's not been 15 years since he's done an interview like that. I would say ever. Firstly, he's never done an interview where he was that open. He's also never had someone interview him who wasn't trying to have a gotcha moment. So he's never been able to put his guard down. And so this was, I think, the only time we've seen him trust the person who's interviewing him. You know what I mean?
I would agree.
I think
It
that's massive.
For
Plus, it was
storyline,
wild.
I think a lot of people expected storyline build, which he announced, Pat would have a match, right? But that's as far as it went. And it wasn't, someone attacking Vince from the side. And I think a lot of people were expecting that to happen, and it didn't, which is why I liked it more. I was like, it was truly a one-on-one interview. And to your point, I think 15 years ago, it wasn't this open, right? It was this last one-on-one interview, but it was a gotcha moment type interview. And I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I actually watched it a couple times. As a businesswoman, I took a lot from that, from a business mindset. It made me kind of think about things a little differently. So I don't know. I appreciate it for what it was, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've been following the company for a while, just the business side of it, just because that's more of my work. So I'm constantly, seeing things on LinkedIn, and when I was studying from a master's, I read up on articles about the company because other companies look to this, massive enterprise as a success, because it is.
And it's an example.
He is the modern Walt Disney, in a sense. And I think there's a lot to be said for that, and a lot of people can do that. Even, you don't have his kids running the company the way he's running it.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, and
It's not easy.
It's not. I think I said this on my podcast earlier, but just watching that, and again, knowing that Vince is probably going to be gone in the next 20 years, I really hope, I don't know if it's Shane, I don't know if it's Stephanie, I don't know if it's Hunter. I hope somebody has been watching and modeling and taking it in how he does things. Could you do things differently? Some things, absolutely, right? But the way his business mindset is, he doesn't make decisions off of emotions, right? He made that very clear. It doesn't matter whether I like someone or not. What makes sense for business, right? Yeah. And
We have theories.
ooh.
Sorry.
Ooh. But you know what I mean? I just hope someone's watching. I hope someone has been closely watching him over the last decade or so, just so they can learn from him. And when he is gone, I don't know who takes over, who knows. But I just hope they continue to grow it, right? It's worldwide. Yeah. It's a worldwide company. So
it'll probably be his son Hornswoggle, if I had to guess.
I had bets on that. I think it is Hornswoggle, actually.
Yeah, I think it's amazing to get that kind of look into his mind, because I don't think that we've ever been able to get that. And I forgot the other point I was going to make on it, but I think it's just awesome, and it's worth checking out. I mean, if you have an hour and a half to just listen to the mind of Vince McMahon, it's amazing. I would also venture to, we've had a long-standing theory that the majority of the IWC has been worked by Vince McMahon, the character, and truly believe that's who he is. And I also love that the whole Pat McAfee scenario and Vince McMahon's involvement, and even as we get to it, KO and Austin, the concept of the way that it's all been talked about, even on the inside, has just been a ton of egg on the face for Meltzer. And I love the petty shit. And the amount of things he's come out saying it's definitely going to be this, it's definitely going to be that. And then when it doesn't, he goes, well, that's what it was said on all of their internal documents, because you have those, because they send them to you. But
he does that, or he'd post it with statements like, they're most likely going to call I think one of them was like WrestleMania Chamber. They're really strongly considering changing it to WrestleMania Chamber, but nothing's official until they announce it. And it's like, or he makes blanket statements where if he's wrong, he can go back and say, well, he didn't say they were for sure. I said things can change. Did you see that last sentence? Things can. Always. And look, I understand. Actually, I don't understand. I joined the IWC 3 years ago. Before that, I had no clue who Meltzer was. Like none. And I'm like, why does this man matter to you guys so much? Like, and I am now friends, or I would say strong acquaintances, whatever you want to call it, with certain pro wrestlers, and they'll straight up just say like, he's lying, like that's not true. And I'm just like, why? Like, I guess he does it for clicks. I get it, like whatever, but he's wrong more than he's right. And I'm like, why do people hang on this man's every word? Like, did I miss something? Why does this man matter?
His bitterness towards Vince McMahon comes through, and then when you see things like this, and he goes, "Well, clearly they're doing this, and 100% they're doing this," because he's so confident in his bias against Vince that he's so positive this is what's going to happen, and then when it doesn't happen, and everyone goes, "How could that be?" And they're like, "Oh, I saw someone theorize that specifically Vince McMahon and the company were leaking types of information to get him to report things to look bad," and I was like, "That dude is not a second thought. Like, no one's putting that much effort into trying to make him look."
I don't know,
but still.
I don't know, because
I know some of the people that feed him information, and he on both sides, anti-WWE people and people in WWE, and to your point, it's not like at the top of their list, but I can assure you he's probably being fed some wrong information.
I think he's purposefully given wrong information by people who are trying to get their narrative out there the way they want. I mean, it's one of the things that's really fun about Conrad's podcast is sometimes they'll read excerpts from like Wade Keller or Meltzer, and then they will straight up call out who must have said that, or this is clearly from this person, and it's all like, so because it makes them look good and other people look bad, it's really clear to see this huge swayed thing, and then he just tries to port it like it's absolute fact and there's no opinion in here at all, and you're like, okay, well, it is what it is. But
yes. All right. As soon as someone says Wrestling Observer said, I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and turn that off.
Yeah, move along.
Nice.
It's cool to see people see him as a human, but also as a businessman.
Oh, yeah.
Because, Marsh and I, like, we worked in big corporations. I've worked for probably billionaires, I don't know. Like people in positions of power, and it's a whole different, it's a different mindset. It's a different lifestyle. Like, and to build something this successful is also just like, it's very rare.
And for it to not be a scam. I love documentaries where all these scamming people make millions and empires and it all crumbles beneath them. Those are my favorite stories. Vince isn't doing that. It's still there. Like, so. Because it seems like fly by night, really easy to become a millionaire under a bunch of scamming, but it will fall under beneath you. So just be careful, be wary.
Yeah, but I love that people didn't know his history,
and
just how shocked everyone was at this was just, to me, it was great, because I was like, y'all just really get into the story, which is nice.
Yeah, which is also great though, because if you haven't heard some of these stories, what better way to hear it than from him? Like, it was just great. It was great. I think people will study it forever.
A lot of people didn't know he grew up in a trailer. Like, a lot of people didn't know a lot of these things. And I think I barely found out about stuff like that, like maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago. I think some story came out about him and it was talking about him. But yeah, I mean, to your point, I think a lot of people have built Vince McMahon the character in their head as he is the villain, right? He is the bad guy. I think he even said in an interview, someone has to be the bad guy, right? He's like, and that typically falls on me. And he's completely okay with it at this point. He's like, I proved myself. He's proven himself, right? He has a $1 billion company. He hasn't proved a thing to anybody at this point. So I do feel that people, again, there are teenagers and young adults that know nothing about Vince McMahon except for what they've read on the internet. Right?
Yep.
So
it's good to have it out
that's
there.
The narrative.
Let's get into SmackDown. I don't know if they have a new song yet or not, but I know Raw has a new song, so I can't sing them. Kev is a big fan of me singing as a transition, so I hate to let him down.
Do it,
I
do
don't know if they're doing the same song right now. I'll be honest. I don't know. Let's see.
Ready? No, is that something else?
Well, I don't know if they're still doing that. I know Raw changed for sure.
Yeah, Raw definitely changed.
Let's see though, but it did open up. SmackDown opened up. So, because I wonder what you thought about this, Kev. They're doing this a couple weeks in a row, and I feel like they missed a week and then went back to it. Doing those little promo spots as the opener, where it shows a bunch of people who are going to be in matches, gives producer lady like sports vibes. But to be honest, we don't watch sports in the house, so I don't know how she can get that vibe.
Because it's the cadence.
Sure. The production of it and stuff. Kev, you watch sports, as they say in quotes. Things like European kickball, things like dribble ball.
Oh, okay.
Was it stickball? I go for the balls personally.
Of course.
Kev, what do you think of the way that they're doing that intro now with those little mini promos?
I don't know. I liked it at first,
Mhm.
And like you said, they got away from it and went back to it. And I don't know. I think it takes, they're just throwing the whole program out there. This is going to happen. And I don't know. I think some of it's just a waste of time.
You know, I think that you could do if you were snazzy enough. I feel like that little intro, because it comes on right at the beginning, I feel like you could do like a Full House style intro, because it just kind of cuts to them and they're smiling and saying stuff, then it cuts to the next person, put their name underneath it and stuff like that. Like, I feel like it's really close to sitcom-y starting, but I like it for the most part, and it gives the guys a chance to say a little something, and obviously practice, and somebody who's been doing practice on their promos and I think has been getting a lot better, Ricochet. So got a chance to hear from Ricochet and Sami Zayn before their match. Sami Zayn, Ricochet, Intercontinental Championship on the line. Steph, what do you think of the match?
I thought the match was great. I'll be honest, I did not expect Sami Zayn to drop the title.
Yeah, I
But-
didn't expect that.
I think he's going against Johnny Knoxville. I think it's just meant to be that match. Obviously no title on the line. They probably wanted to put that title in the actual match, right? So kudos to Ricochet, man. If they're finally getting him a push, I hope he takes the horns and runs with them, because this is his chance to prove it, right?
Yep, absolutely. I think it's a little weird though, because I thought Meltzer said there's a good chance they're putting the Intercontinental Championship on Johnny Knoxville. This definitely makes that more difficult. So I just find that's a little bit of a weird.
He also didn't. I guess there were no plans for Finn Balor either, I heard. But
Yeah, no plans for him. They got nothing for him in creative.
I was just. Sorry, you're gonna ask Kevin.
I was gonna ask Kev, but you look like you want to say a little thing, so go for it. Hit it up. Sorry, Kev, you gotta wait. Go ahead, producer lady.
That's fine.
Hang back, Kev. Here we go, producer lady.
Oh my god. We're always super impressed with Ricochet because the guy makes it look like, it's easy for him, but he makes it look like it is a struggle.
Yeah.
And just him and Sami working together, they just killed it. Like, I was just blown away.
Yeah.
Especially like how it ended. I was just like, what is he doing? Like, what is that?
That kind of Hurricane Rana bomb type pinning scenario.
And I feel like it's only guys like that who could do it.
Yep.
And I feel like Ricochet has been given the limelight before, and I partly blame the fans for not getting behind it, because he was pushed, right? But if the fans are just like, oh, well, whatever, they're not gonna be behind him, then okay, then they'll hold off, maybe give him some more training on whatever promos, or and he comes back, and the fact that he's finally getting the pop that they want and that he wanted, I was just so happy for him.
That's good.
I was so happy for him.
The fans definitely shit on stuff so hard and then get shocked when they pull back. Like, what?
Oh, well, they just did it again. And it's like, well, you're also part of the dance, guys.
Yeah. Stephanie, what do you got?
sorry, just real quick. Okay, I'm gonna rebuttal you here, producer girl.
Let's see.
Here's the thing, and I've been saying this for a while about Ricochet. When he gets in the ring, you can't touch him, right? He's amazing. This is exactly what I told my co-host. Why do I care? Why do I care who Ricochet is? Why do I care to get behind him? You have to give me a reason to care. For me, right?
But they started with him being a poor boy from Kentucky. That seems like reason enough.
Yes, that's the story I remember.
Correct, but then they stopped. Right? And then he got thrown into a tag team with Aleister Black, which I loved, by the way. Loved that little tag. I loved it, right?
Cool.
And then it just all halted from there, right?
Yeah.
You have to give the fans something to dig their teeth into. His promos weren't doing it. God bless him. I know he was trying, right? And to your point, I think he's gotten better. I think and they did put the title on him before, and it just didn't work. So I'm hoping now, that's why I said, he needs to take the horns, the bull horns, and run with it. Because they are now going, okay, we know you got it. Look, I have a little boy, and it's not into wrestling at all. He was watching Ricochet, right? There's a market for him. There are little kids everywhere looking at him going, God, like, I want to fly like that. Like, I want to do that. Mm-hmm. They just need to capture that, because I feel like he can do great things.
Yeah. Kev, what do you think of the match?
The match I loved. Said. Yeah. Well, I think before, I just don't think Ricochet had the confidence. Like, his in-ring stuff was great. His character, I don't think he had confidence in his character at the time. And I think, he's might have found his niche, because there's like a certain swagger now when he talks and, does his promos. So, hopefully this is him, moving on and, like Steph said, running with it.
Yeah.
And for the match, I love the match. I was just curious, how you guys were reacting to it, fighting amongst each other in your household. With producer lady's guy and your guy going at it.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there screaming for Sami, and she's all like, "Flex your abs," and I was like, "No."
I was so torn, because I was like, I love both these dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, Marsh is always going to be Super Sami.
Yeah.
Super Sami, yeah. But I come from the dancing background, so my go-to is always dancers. And to me, Ricochet moves like a dancer. Like,
yeah, I bet.
To me, he moves like the Usos. Like,
yeah, Magic Mike.
Okay. See what I heard?
Oh no. Like, I think I was more upset because at the same Zayn had just gotten the title.
Yeah.
Like, just gotten the title, so I was like, why?
So let's.
I think that works. I think that works for Sami. I think, with all the conspiracies and everything like that, I think that plays into his hand perfectly.
Yeah. So I think a couple things. One, I was going to say that two things about Ricochet. I think the idea that, for one, Sami was distracted by Knoxville. The fact it wasn't just a schoolboy roll-up, so people couldn't shit on the finish. Like, the fact that Ricochet is, like, doing that crazy Hurricane Rana thing, because how believable is it to be blindsided by something like that and be so fucking discombobulated and dizzy that, yeah, maybe you could get that 3. You know what I mean? Where a lot of people, they'll do the distraction and do a roll-up, and it goes, well, is that really enough to distract you that much? Well, how about being spun around over your ass over tea kettle, which I thought was incredible. I also think that what an amazing sign of the company's confidence in Ricochet, knowing full well that the fans were having a hard time sinking their teeth into what he had to do. And after all has been said and done and everything that's gone on, they have not released him. They've held on to him because they know that there's something there and something special, and they just got to get to it. Like, that's a lot of confidence in that guy. I think it's amazing. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people who are really upset, saying, why take the title off of Shinsuke at all if you're going to have Sami lose it here? And I know that a lot of people were upset because they like Shinsuke and Boogs and they want them to be at Mania and the entrance could be cool. I also think it's a really long ramp to be playing a guitar down typically, but
Like your thumb's gonna get tired eventually.
yeah, at some
They'll
point your
drive
thumb
down
falls
that
off.
ramp in the tundra.
Yeah, they'll drive down in the tundra.
They'll just be in the back of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well now they got the tundras, they can do it. But I think that it absolutely plays into the Sami storyline and the Johnny thing, and I think that a lot of people, because I love people just talking mad shit about stuff as it happens. Oh, so now it's Intercontinental Champion Knoxville, and you're like, okay, well, is it? But now you have a story that builds on Johnny Knoxville just driving Sami mental. Like even after the match, Sami's like screaming to himself and kicking stuff, and there's a really great promo in the back. And now you have a reason for him to just say, that's it, I want Knoxville, because he's been avoiding him because he doesn't believe he's good enough to be in there. Now he's been driven crazy to the point where I'm going to get him. And you have Ricochet in an amazing performance and Intercontinental Championship. I don't know that we can't still get Ricochet against a Shinsuke and Boogs for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania, and it's win-win. And is it the worst thing that Sami has an extra notch on his belt of Intercontinental reigns? So Shinsuke's got another one. Is that so horrible for their...
That,
you know
he has the conspiracy now. He's like, look, it's a conspiracy, y'all. It's a conspiracy. It works.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I love it. I loved that promo. Really happy for Ricochet. Do you think Ricochet's swagger and confidence, Kev, comes from that the ring announcer is his girlfriend? So he's getting talked to the ring by his girlfriend every time. It's kind of hard not to try and flex a little bit, you know?
Well, no,
He's all.
that's
Yeah.
not from it at all.
Dusting his shoulders and stuff.
Hey,
Yeah.
honey.
Because I mean, like his in-ring stuff was never bad. He always was
Never.
confident there. I just meant like his promo work and his,
The way he carries himself.
yeah.
And
Absolutely.
now his girlfriend's watching him right there. Like she's right there. He's got
Yeah.
like, have you ever seen a couple in the gym?
He,
Dude's lifting more weight than he needs to be lifting.
oh yeah,
He's struggling,
Is
but
he-
he's not gonna let you know.
yeah.
Not this. Not this.
By the way, shout out to her, Samantha Irvin.
Samantha.
She is our new favorite announcer.
She's great.
She is fantastic.
She's awesome. I do like
I
her.
don't think I've liked anyone like as much as her since JoJo.
Yeah.
I miss
Ring announcing.
JoJo so much, dude.
We
Oh my god.
loved JoJo.
I love JoJo.
I loved her voice. I loved her personality. And then when she left, I was like, oh my god, who's there? And there just
Yeah.
hasn't been anyone that really
Yeah.
filled her shoes until
Yeah, her pumps.
Yep.
her pumps.
Yep.
Until Smith, really stepped up from NXT.
Yeah, quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Quick.
real
Yeah.
So
I'm like, she came up quick.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Kev, was there
But
something
what
else
I
you
was
were
gonna
throw in on there? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think before Ricochet looked and acted like a rookie, like he was in the big
Yeah.
dance finally, and like he was timid, and didn't want to step on anyone's toes. And now that he's got a couple years under his belt, like he's just gonna be himself. And
Well, that, I think
Yeah.
when they pushed him, to your point, like, they kind of called him up from NXT. I don't know if you guys remember this. It was like the worst Raw on the planet, but it was like Lansville, Alabama, or Louisiana. It was someplace in Louisiana. But the worst crowd in America, right? They didn't cheer for anything, and they called all these NXT badasses up, and it was like, and I'm like, oh my god, like to debut to that, and then. Again, they threw him into the tag team with Aleister Black, which I think people loved, right? And then they gave him, I think it was the IC title, right?
US.
Or was it, no, the USA title.
US.
USA.
Yeah. He was in a program with AJ. It was amazing.
Uh-huh.
He was in a program with AJ Styles. How great was that?
Yeah, like they did all these things, but to your point, like he still came off, like they kind of threw him in, right? And I don't think he was like, he didn't get time to adjust, and then they just kind of stopped everything because he wasn't bringing it. And so now I feel that they had put that stop on him. Now he's hungrier than ever, and now he knows what he needs to do. Because if they're going to give him a push and they're going to give him this title and they're going to be behind him, he knows now he has to prove himself because in every aspect, right? So I'm excited to see what he does.
You remember how Drew McIntyre thought he was a Terminator and would move like a robot because like he took shit too literal? Remember that?
Yes.
Do you think?
I do.
Do you think Ricochet thought that they called him Ricochet and got it confused, and then just went too wet?
I was the one bringing the jokes. What's going on?
Oh, you know Marsh?
She doesn't know.
I don't think you know Marsh.
And from the brief time we all met, I got it. I got it with my dry ass
That's the
scone.
problem. This producer never gets it. She never gets it.
Oh, I do.
No, well,
It's
well,
not all funny.
it doesn't seem right. I
No.
feel like
Just because she doesn't laugh does not mean she doesn't get it. It means it wasn't funny.
I think it's exactly what it means is that she didn't get it.
That just means you got to say it again.
Yeah, Spinnerbox came in to say he's watching AEW. Great, keep doing that. Oops,
I hope you're enjoying it.
I don't.
Hey,
No, that kid. I hope
I
that kid
hope
hates
you
it.
enjoy whatever you are watching. Go
Spinner
Jade
Fox.
Cargill.
If you
Go
knew
John
Splinter Fox, you would
Moxley.
disagree. I'm not saying I don't want AEW to be good. I don't want Splinter Fox to enjoy what he's watching. He's our troll. He comes in here talking mad shit. I hope he hates it. But cheers to Splinter Fox. We always appreciate it come through.
I just met you, and I hope you enjoy the show. So
You know.
that's from me.
Let's see.
that
Yeah,
happened.
good stuff. Good stuff. Austin Theory came out, talked shit to McAfee. I loved McAfee in this segment too, because I like McAfee looking at Cole and he's like, "Why is this guy talking to me?" Like, and then at a certain point, Austin Theory's all like, "Yeah, Vince McMahon knows you're a chump in that," and he goes, "That's not what I got out of the conversation. That wasn't my takeaway." Like, the way he was like talking to Cole, like, "What is going on?" And he had that look on his face. I loved that when Theory smacked him, and McAfee like loses his cool. He turns around, he goes. He's like, "Can't believe this happened." He goes, "It happened in front of Jimmy Butler." And he goes, "Well, he went to the bathroom." And then he just keeps going. Because the Miami player who was behind him was gone all of a sudden. And he was like making that part of the show. And I just thought it was so natural and good. And I think McAfee's incredible. And I think it's also it's a lot they've put on Austin Theory's plate real fast.
I'm so happy.
Like,
You can tell that you can tell he's, before maybe the last 2 months, Riddle was my top pick for Money in the Bank winner, but it's very quickly turning to Austin Theory. To put him in a program at Brock, not once,
Yes.
but twice with Brock doesn't work with just anybody.
no.
Even if Vince wants him to, right? He still won't work with Riddle. So I think, I don't know, to be decimated by Brock is a good thing, right?
And by Vince.
For your career, that is a good thing.
He's working
And
with
Vince.
Yeah, Vince hasn't been an on-screen character in so long, and now he is as Austin Theory's mentor. Like, what the fuck role is this? Like, when has Vince ever been like, "I'll be someone's mentor on screen"?
I love that on NXT. I did not care for Austin Theory.
Me neither.
I didn't like the goofiness.
It's because he was he was around horrible comedy.
Okay. The comedy wasn't for me, but here in this new character, it's just toned down a bit, where he's playing obnoxious just so well, and he can do everything else in the ring great. Like, I'm just super amped for him.
Yeah,
I'm
I
happy for that kid.
really happy he's broken away and doing what he's doing, and yeah, I mean, and then to be trusted with
He's
Pat
delivered.
McAfee's like what second
Yeah.
singles match ever, and it's gonna be at Mania, like, and it's Pat McAfee, like. Austin Theory's in a match with Pat McAfee. McAfee's not in a match with Austin Theory, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
Right. Absolutely.
Vince went on to McAfee's show to put over Pat McAfee to get McAfee's audience to watch McAfee wrestle at Mania. And it just so happens that they'll be using Austin Theory to make sure that McAfee looks good. Like, what a order. Like, what an order from Vince. Hey, you got to make sure this guy looks like $1 million. You also can't look like shit, so good luck to you.
It's the same thing with Brock, though.
Yeah.
Look, you're going to be in a cage with Brock. Are you down? And he was like, bring it, right? Like, that's intimidating. It's Brock Lesnar. And he's very
Are you scared of
unpredictable.
Brock?
As we found out, half the stuff he did wasn't even scripted. Like, he just did it because he's Brock Lesnar. So you have to just be ready for anything. And so the fact that Austin Theory was like, all right, let's do this. Let's go.
Yeah.
Look, they're behind that man. And he's delivering. I'm not a big fan of the character, but it does nothing for me. but I still enjoy watching him. He's delivered on literally everything that he's been doing. So I'm excited for the Mania match. My co-host thinks he's going to be like the Shane McMahon type role, where he's kind of doing these bigger spots in the match, like through tables.
On behalf of Vince, yeah.
Okay, I don't.
Okay.
But I hear
No?
you. No. Austin Theory's... I
I'm
mean,
talking
just
about
from everything
I'm
I've
talking
seen...
about Pat McAfee.
Oh, McAfee. Yeah, McAfee's a
Yes.
lunatic. He's definitely going to do
Yes.
that shit. Yep.
I
absolutely.
can see
Yep.
him
Yeah.
jumping off the top rope onto the announce table. Like, he's going to be the Shane McMahon in this match, is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah. He's going to
That's
ask
what I feel is
McMahon to
going
borrow
to
his padding.
Oh.
You used to see it. If a shirt came up, he was wearing like padded stuff because the idea was that Shane was
you're
going
not
to
supposed
break
to
his ribs.
see that stuff.
But it didn't stop him from breaking his ribs. It just made it less and kept it together. Like the idea was that,
Less
okay,
ribs.
yeah, I'm going to break some ribs and take 6 months off and then I'll come back and break a few more. Like that was his fucking gimmick. Like, what? I could see McAfee saying like, hey, let me borrow that little onesie suit, what do you call them, Spanx, and I'll go pop a couple ribs and I'll still be able to do my show. It's not a big deal.
Oh, man.
So,
That's
yeah, I thought you said Austin Theory was going to be the stunt dude, and I was like, I don't see that because he's like such a
No.
true wrestler type. But saying like
he's going to be
McAfee's
the
gonna
ring
jump off
worker
some
in the
shit?
match, right? He's going to be doing this, making Pat McAfee look great. And McAfee's going to go, great, jump, right? Like, that's what it's
Yeah.
going to be. And I'm here for it.
100%.
And I can't wait to see some tables and shit break. Let's do it.
It's going to be amazing. Kev, what do you think of this spot, Theory and McAfee?
I liked it. I mean, I like that McAfee gets pissed off, starts yelling at Cole.
Yeah,
Like if
bitch boy.
Cole had anything to do with it.
Yeah,
And
Cole
gets all the
impressed
shit.
me.
Poor
Cole impressed me here too.
Yeah,
I rewatched it again
Yeah.
today.
Why did Cole impress you here?
That's what I was saying. That's where my sentence was going.
See, this is what I have to deal with.
When I rewatched it, McAfee's getting in his face, and Michael Cole keeps a straight face and turned his professionalism up to be the broadcaster. Look, Pat, I didn't, and he stayed super calm, which, as someone who's worked in prisons and stuff, when people are that escalated and pointing fingers in your face, and you're like, this person's heated and might want to start fighting, and I'm not really into fighting right now. Like, keeping your cool and your baseline level is so imperative to that. And it'd have been really easy for any other character who's playing who knows that that person's not actually going to hit them to just also yell back and be like, oh, I'll go up to their level and then bring them back. But he played it as though it was like a legit issue to work through. And he kept calm. Pat, that's not what's going on here. I had nothing to do with it. Like, let's try to be professional. Like, what
try to
Michael Cole
de-escalate
did.
the situation.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I was all like, oh, shit. And it came off natural. Sorry, Kev, go ahead.
Yeah.
See, like old Cole, like 15, 20 years ago would have been about it. I think Cole's out there. I really don't give a fuck. Leave me alone. I'm gonna do my job. Like that's what I got out of it. He was kind of like, I don't know what you're on. I apologize. This happened. Has nothing to do with me. Now coming out to the ring, like you know what I mean? Like he's past that. I'm too old for this shit. Get on my face.
He didn't want to get. Yeah, he didn't want to get punched.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's how you don't get punched, is that level of de-escalation and professionalism.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Because otherwise, if you do the other stuff and don't get punched, then you start going like, this is goofy. That person should have punched the other person. This is one where you go like, oh shit, that was played out well. Like he de-escalated. I bought in. Kev, go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, that's pretty much it. Like, great spot. Makes me intrigued about a Theory McAfee match at Mania.
Yeah.
If you would have said this last week, hey, these two guys are fighting, I'd be like, okay, I'm not interested, don't really care about it. But it was just enough to tease towards it, and yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. There was some other stuff that happened on the show. Ronda Rousey defeated Sonya Deville in the main event. Charlotte came in and tapped out a thing. Sheamus and Ridge Holland ambushed Biggie and Kofi and took their little their ATV and smashed it up. And then the Usos defeated Viking Raiders. And Roman Reigns cut a promo, which was good. I say that in that all that stuff was pretty solid stuff that I don't have a lot to say about. If there's something you guys want to say about any of those, we can do that in just a second. The only other thing here that I was really excited about and that I'm like wanted to bring up was Naomi defeating Carmella, and now we have Naomi and Sasha and Carmella and Zelina, and we also have I think on Raw it happens where we get the third team.
Yep.
But we have them going into WrestleMania for the tag team championships. And I don't mind bringing it up now, even the idea that Liv and Rhea have been added to that match in the next thing. Are you doing a thing?
Grim's in the chat saying hi.
Yeah, that's how Grim would talk. He goes, hi. That's how he talks.
Also, welcome.
Hey.
He says, welcome,
Hi.
Stephanie. Cheers to
Thank
Grim
you.
Reaper. And Falcons Man 11 says McAfee's going balls to the wall at Mania. Might jump from the WrestleMania sign. Yeah, dude, he might.
Absolutely.
He's like going
It's
to be
already
in the
caught
back.
on fire at this point. Anything's
Oh, yeah.
possible.
That's true. Caught on fire twice.
It is
He's going to be in the back yelling at Kevin Owens about who's going to take the meanest bump.
Yep.
You can't jump off of that. I'm jumping off of that.
Hell I can't.
Yeah, the hell I can't.
You can't be jumping off of signs and stuff on the Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, KO's going to have to tone it down a little bit this year.
No, but KO can be thrown off a sign by Stone Cold.
Oh.
But Stone Cold has to get up to the sign.
Yeah, he's not going up there. Yeah. Well, what if Kevin gets up there and then Stone Cold hits him with a t-shirt gun, just
Oh, with a
and
beer.
then boom.
He's
Yeah.
good at throwing beers. What if he just
Yeah.
throws a can right at his head? And then you see KO fall. Now I want it. See, we can't be fantasy booking because then we're not going to get it, and I'm be disappointed.
WrestleMania's just gonna be sponsored by his beer.
Yeah.
El Segundo.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Broken skulls. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
Cheers.
sort of the way that never mind. So yeah, Naomi and Sasha Banks as a team for one. I love them as a team.
Love it.
Love it.
I was talking to Kev about this earlier because he had missed an episode and go, do they rush that storyline pretty quick? And my initial thought was, yeah, I think they teamed them up pretty quick. But then it occurred to me that throughout a lot of the Sonya Naomi storyline, it showed Sasha defending Naomi or comforting Naomi and was ringside for Naomi once or something like that. Like they'd been kind of planting that seed for a number of months that they have been friends. And also it's not a big stretch. They would be friends anyways. Like, I mean, for one, Sasha's gear at WrestleMania, I'm pretty sure was inspired by Naomi in general. I think that's why she put the green in her hair. I don't know
The
if she
neon?
said it or not. Say what?
What's it? The neon.
Yeah.
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 We'll go
looked
with it, sure.
Naomi gear.
Absolutely. It's exactly what I meant.
Yeah. So it wasn't to me a stretch to begin with, but as I thought about it, I was like, you know what? They did have a lot of breadcrumbs along the way, so it made me appreciate it even more, actually.
It's not what I wanted for Sasha as a fan, but I'm completely happy with it. I'm completely okay with it. I mean, they're fun. They're fan favorites, right? Sasha's going to bring eyes, and if they win, they make history. So I'm all for it.
What would you have preferred for Sasha?
I think most of us, I'll speak for myself. I think a lot of us were expecting Sasha versus Charlotte.
What?
That's where it was headed. And it was supposed to be the backup plan if Ronda wasn't ready for Mania.
Did you
Yeah.
to see more Charlotte?
I don't know.
I mean, she has the title, so I don't think we had a choice.
Okay, well, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying I wanted it, but I'm saying if she's going to be there, why not put Sasha over after all of these years that Sasha has put her over?
Yeah.
And then Ronda came back or she was ready. So
Okay.
Well, see, I would think there need to be a lot more build up to that, like
Well, she got
revisit it.
injured.
well, they had
Huh?
started doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know if
yeah,
you
they
remember.
started
like,
it. She got injured, and that's why it cooled down, and then Ronda came back, and so they would have had time to do it. Is what all I'm saying. They would have been.
they would have had time.
But-
The history's there. I think a lot of people are expecting it. But we're here now.
I'll be honest.
So
I don't know anything or anybody or anything, and it's all an outside looking in thing. There's a big part of me that thinks Sasha's going to be a lot happier getting Naomi a moment together than she would
Very.
be getting her own moment over Charlotte.
I mean, Sasha's been putting others before her for years, right? And
Yeah, you saw the video of her after Bianca won.
yeah, I was like, Sasha loves seeing her people win, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of her fans in general just want Sasha to get that big win because she still has
Yes.
not one WrestleMania match. She's 0-6, guys. She's like
It's
she's the
gotta
opposite
keep
of
the streak
Undertaker.
alive. Yeah, she's gonna
Right?
keep the streak alive.
So
Didn't she barely turn 30?
she just turned 30. Just.
So she's got good enough 30 years in her.
Good God.
I don't know. I don't understand contracts, but
Yeah.
I feel like there's a possibility. Yeah, I guess I see that. I think for me, just the excitement for me of a possible Sasha Charlotte is just not there. It just felt like, yeah, okay, I guess we can do that. I just want Sasha to win it. Where for me, seeing Sasha and Naomi together makes me happy, and
Yeah.
they look so happy that I
They look
feel
happy.
better about that in
Yes.
general. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, they
Uh,
look like they're both having fun, so I'm happy for them, and it's going to
And
be a great match.
It sets up.
mean,
Oh yeah, and then you got nothing but stars in there, and
stars.
everyone knows what they're doing. And then also, if you give Naomi and Sasha the tag titles, then you have a ready-made rivalry for a returning Bailey
Yep.
to come in all pissed off that you backstabbing boss went and took them titles with somebody else.
They still
I
have
don't-
beef, though. They're not friends.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you just add to the beef. It's just more
Add
beef.
to that feel.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then
Double
at the same time,
cheeseburger.
yeah, at the same time, because we all want it, why not
I just
tag
want
up
Bailey back.
with
I
Asuka?
just want Bailey back. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah,
I just want Bailey back.
yeah.
Obviously, I want her to come back
I
in her
want my
time because
Bailey
we
back,
want her
Bailey
to
back,
be
Bailey back,
fully,
Bailey back. I want
fully-
my Bailey
I
back,
want her to
Bailey
be
back,
fully
Bailey back,
recovered.
Bailey back.
and fully healed. I'm not trying to rush her. But Bailey, if you're watching,
Bailey back ribs. Barbecue sauce.
did you say Bailey back ribs?
Oh yeah, he's been saying
Yeah.
this whole time.
I want my Bailey back, Bailey back.
This
Bailey
whole
back,
time she's
Bailey
been out?
No, right now.
No, right.
Girl, how?
I'm just happy. I'm happy for Naomi because she said she's wanted, like in the latest interview when she came back, she said she wanted a good story. She said, "I've had
Yes.
this title. This is what I want."
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm all for the wrestlers getting whatever they want,
Mhm.
and especially when you think about how long Naomi's been there.
Yeah.
Like for her, I just feel like give her whatever she wants.
She's been there longer than the Four Horsewomen.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's
And yeah, no, to your point, I agree. She did say that on, I think it was
There was an interview.
Jillian.
I know I read it.
Jillian.
Oh yeah, the Jillian
Uh,
Hall. Yeah, Jillian Hall's
Thank-
Yeah.
one.
Because I know a lot of people, us included, were just like, man, WrestleMania, like, you really wanted it to be Naomi involved with that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, she even said it there. She won the SmackDown Women's Championship in her hometown
Yeah.
at WrestleMania. That's
Yeah.
not anything to scoff at.
And I think she had the best title. I absolutely
Oh,
love
the glow
I
title.
loved it.
Yeah.
And then to find
I
out that
even
they
got
didn't
a
want her to
figure that
do
has the
that,
glow
and she
title.
did it anyway, right? Here's the
Oh,
thing
yeah.
Naomi. I think she's another one where she's great in the ring. She reminds me of Ricochet, right? Great in the ring. What is your character? Yes, we know that she glows. Yes, we know she's a wonderful performer, nice person, good promo, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, give people something to sink their teeth into. It has nothing to do with her. It had everything to do with the story. And they're finally giving her a story and letting her character develop in that story between her and Sonya. And now you kind of have her and Charlotte, right? And so there's things developing. And so I kind of love that for her. They're keeping her on TV. They're keeping her in the limelight. She now has a Mania match. She's an early pick for me for Money in the Bank.
Mhm.
I have two others that kind of have some momentum as well. But I like that they're keeping her on TV. They're keeping her.
Yeah.
They did all this story with her and Spotlight. You saw the fans' reactions, man. That match between her and Charlotte, not to go back that much, but it was a great match. It was a great match, and the fans were hot, right? Like they were like, let's go. Like it was awesome to see, and I love that for her. So
Yeah. They were ready for her for sure. Anything else on SmackDown you guys want to talk about before we go on to Raw?
no.
Nope.
No, yeah. So as we get to Raw, we'll finish up the talk here about the women's tag thing. Stephanie, I see you are one amongst the many that I've been seeing on the IWC who have this theory that you believe there should be a mid-card women's title.
I tweet it every week. Same
every
tweet.
week.
Today would be a good day to introduce a women's mid-card title.
I question if you add 1 to 2 more titles to the women's division, because if you want to do it U.S. versus intercontinental style, because I feel like, to me, the tag title is the what? Yeah, a lot of T's in there. Tag titles. Jesus. I feel like that the women's
Thank you for
tag
keeping
titles,
us straight, producer lady. We appreciate you, and we're thankful for you.
Do you want me to get you a counter?
I am.
I think I have a little counter here. If you need a tea counter.
I just didn't know what you were saying.
Well, it's because I wasn't finished saying it.
Do you see what he has to deal with?
You see what I gotta do? What I have to... So I feel like the women's tag titles are the mid card title, because I mean you've got 6 women in a WrestleMania match right now. That otherwise, do we really think there's going to be 3 more women's matches on the card? I mean over 2 days for sure. But if they go back to the 1-day event, I don't see how the women's tag titles isn't a mid card title.
Do you want me to explain? Here, look.
Yeah, because I don't see it
I
as anything
am
else.
appreciative of Bayley and Sasha's unimaginable and endearing. Like, they fought hard for those tag titles.
Yeah.
And I'm happy they finally got them. What I'm saying is shelve them. If you're not going to do it right, shelve them. I'm saying you guys have a tag division that's basically non-existent until Mania rolls around. And after Mania, does pretty well, maybe through SummerSlam, maybe, right? It's easier to book singles competitors than it is tag teams for WWE. So make an IC Women's Championship and let them go after that. Half of the women in the Mania match are singles competitors who would be great mid-card champions. Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Naomi, right? If you're not going to put them in the top title picture right now, let them have a mid-card title. Get rid of the tag titles. That's how I feel about it. Because either that or combine the tag titles, the NXT and the main roster ones. They don't need 2 different ones, because that way the tag team champions can go to NXT, Smackdown, Raw, and then you actually have some legitimate teams in NXT 2.0, right? It's easier to book a mid-card title than it is the tag titles for WWE. They build a team, or they just stick 2 people together and it works for like 3 months, and then they break them apart, and then they're singles competitors. And I'm like, if you're going to invest, I remember, so a lot of people don't know me. I started watching wrestling when I was younger, when I was 6, because of tag team wrestling. That's why I actually started watching wrestling. I love tag team wrestling. And it's been lacking on every level with WWE in the last 3 or 4 years for me. And if you're not going to do it right, just don't do it. Don't have the titles just because it's, a check mark on the box. Like, look what we did for women. Okay, now what? Invest in it. Put some time into it. Give them some stories, right? You saw Sasha and Bayley's first reign. What was that? What was that? They told them you're going to NXT. They said you're going to NXT. You're going here. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. They didn't do shit. Not their fault. They didn't do shit with it.
They did that. They did go to all 3 brands. They were the only team that had it for a while.
They only went twice. That's it.
Yeah, but they also only had it for like 3-4 months, and then it went on to the next team, and the Iconics
did nothing. It was like
did nothing.
It just all fell so flat so quickly, and because I was so happy for Sasha and Bayley, who had been advocating for this for years, and then they gave them to them, and they were just like, and I think even Sasha and Bayley talked about it, if I remember correctly, like they said their first reign was pretty
not what they wanted.
Poor, not what they wanted.
Yeah.
And the second one they did so much better. But I don't know.
Yeah.
For me, I would get rid of the tag titles for now until you can build some legitimate teams for a while, as in build them and keep them together, and or and then introduce a mid-card title. And that made it more, the 24/7 championship on Dana made that realization even more for me, because it gave Dana something to do, right? All these other women just sit in the back if you're not in the main title picture.
Because they split up her tag team. Otherwise, Dana was in the running for the tag titles.
Yeah.
You know?
Right, but then they split them up. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Invest in tag teams. Stop splitting them up. Because how are we supposed to believe that these people should truly be tag team champions when you just put them together a week ago?
Okay, well, that was part of the thought process between Sasha and Bayley, was the amount of women's matches prior to the tag titles, which were tag team matches. They were teaming up people nonstop for years. The women were in constant tag matches, and there was always the reason of why, what for, because there was no motivation for women to tag up if there was nothing to go for. So it was just these women who were tagging because they're besties and fighting for no reason. So that was part of the thought behind the tag championships, is if you're going to be putting us together with random people anyways, at least give us a goal. I think that if you did a women's mid-card title, I don't think you'd see less random tag teams. I think you'd see less goals, and it'd go back to kind of a pointless match. I also wonder if we wouldn't see, I mean, we talked about it earlier on the phone, Kev. Shinsuke, who's been Intercontinental Champion, I think 2 or 3 times, and how many matches do you remember him having in any of those reigns? Like, it's really easy for them to lose the mid-card title in the mix as well. I think for me, if you're going to have a sloppy mid-card title, I'd rather it be with 4 women than 2, just to get them time in the ring to get better, so when they break away, they can go towards the main title.
But you do have weeks the tag team titles aren't even, like, the champs aren't even on TV.
Yeah,
Carmella and Zelina were off TV for like 3 weeks. I'm like, what is the point?
That's because Carmella got COVID.
No, when they were backstage doing the toga party, and they weren't they were on TV in a toga.
She also had a root canal.
And she had root canal.
Oh God,
She talked about that on
yeah.
the podcast. She was really freaked out.
Some of it's not booking's fault. Some of it's life fault.
Yeah, some of it is life, and we piece that together, which it has to suck to be in the creative spot to be like, okay, well now what?
Yeah, well, what do you mean they're sick? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So why is it
lost a tooth?
And they get that, but why isn't Zelina on TV then? All I'm saying is that it's like, I just don't see them putting, and it's not just the women's tag titles. I'm sorry, the men's tag scene is also lacking in a lot of different ways. But
that's thin.
I don't know. I would like to see them invest more in it and keep some of these teams together. Like, don't make it a quick, okay, they're together, okay, one's going to turn the other one now. Like, we've seen it. We know what happens. We get it. And when it makes sense, it makes sense. But it happens a lot.
I think part of the reason you see the teams break up is because the tag team titles really are kind of that proving ground mid-card title, that once the team is very successful, well, now they're both ready for a singles run, split them up. And it turns out also that most of these women are much further along than I think the company or the fan base even realizes once they put them together in a team. They do their storyline as a team, and people go, oh, look, they're perfectly fine to be going for the world title. And so they break them up. I think that's why the tag team titles, or the tag teams don't last as long. You don't have an Usos or a Hardys that are just brothers from the time they were born and twins who just want to be a tag team. You don't have a lot of women's tag teams on the indies who are trying to break in like FTR did. Actually, were they pieced together in NXT? I don't know. But either way, I'm saying
you have some in NXT that could easily come up and stay tag teams.
Yes.
If they really wanted to. And that's what I'm saying. I just want to see more investment in them. And if you're not going to invest in them and keep it consistent, then just make it a mid-card title, because Rhea lost to Charlotte. I don't even know when that was at this point. And then she was thrown into the tag team with Nikki Ash because they wanted to keep her on TV. They knew she was popular. And they're like, but we have nothing else to do with her if she's not in the title scene. So just put her in a tag team. Rhea could have easily held the IC Women's Championship and been fighting other women in the mid-card just as easily. So I just, and then they split them up and they make Nikki Ash Hill. And I'm just like, I don't know. I personally been disappointed in the booking of the Women's Tag Team Championship titles. And I would love to see more from them, because I'm glad they got them. They finally got them.
For me, I think where I think I think our agreement to disagree falls in the line of that the grass is definitely greener on the other side of something. Is that with a better tag team division, or is that with a split division of singles? I don't know that I have confidence that, like, it's almost like the devil you know versus the devil you don't. Well, I know what I got with the tag titles. Let's just pretty that up a little bit. I don't mean that in a demeaning pretty up women bit. I mean that in like make the division better.
I got you.
But like let's build that up a little bit as opposed to let's break it up even more, because the tag team division is already tough for a company that they had a lumberjill match just a couple years ago where you had two women on each side of the ring. Yeah. So I was like, we don't even have 8 women in the back. Like, it was crazy.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and so I was all like, we only have 10 women on each roster to begin with. Making a mid-card title seems like you might end up with even less women on TV if they don't at least have tag teams to fight over. I like the idea because some of them do come up and aren't quite ready for prime time, and so tagging them with somebody who can help them get to that other side, I do really like. But yeah, it's a sloppy division for sure. Like, they could definitely tighten that up for sure.
Yeah.
Whether it's mid-card or not. Let me hit the chat real fast. Grim Reaper did say back in the a little while ago that Machine Gun Kelly can get his revenge on and powerbomb Owens off the sign. That would be an interesting twist. And he does say Bayley versus Sasha and Ronda versus Becky is what he wants at WrestleMania 39. He says no Charlotte, but that's not pandering either way. And then Falcons Man says, I feel like WWE needs a mid-card title. Ever since Stephanie mentioned it, I've preached it because it makes sense. So many talented women need an additional title to compete for. And I think that they're trying to find that balance, like you said, with the 24/7 title and the tag title. I feel like 24/7 title has seen a few evolutions. I remember early on saying that I wanted it on Aleister Black when he was doing that pick a fight with me. I was like, yeah, if he could at least have the 24/7 title and sit in the ring and say, bring it, asshats, like that'd have been nice. Make it a serious title. But if the women can make it a serious title with a little bit of levity, then that's not the worst thing either. So, like I said, I think it's a devil we know versus devil we don't. Like, we're trying to fantasy book a solution because we want better is all it is. We're just getting different ways on it.
Absolutely.
Faptina says not a huge fan of million titles. Forget who has what after a while without a compelling story. Yeah. And Shinsuke's one of those ones where he gets the IC title and we forget about it for so long. Grim Reaper says NXT women's tag titles is greater than the women's tag titles. Son of a bitch, Grim Reaper. Kev, there was a lot there. Weigh in.
Well, I agree with both of you guys. Like, I see where each side's coming from. And the problem is that they're outside of Naomi and Sonya, there's never just a mid-card match between two women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't just have that random, hey, we're going to do Liv Morgan versus Nikki Ash because we can type of thing. Yeah. So if you had more of that, then a mid-card women's title would be, fine.
Yeah.
But, I do think that, because I hate as well that they just throw two people together and say, hey, boom, you're a tag team. Even with the guys. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The Bar, I thought Cesaro and Sheamus were awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I love them so much.
But, there's so many times where they put two people together for no reason. And even Aleister Black and Ricochet. It didn't make any sense, but it was nice. Yeah. Us fans liked it. But, I think if they developed the actual tag division for the women, I think it would, it would make more sense and it'd be more compelling. Like if you had actual teams that were just teams. I know the Iconics were supposed to be that, but then when they realized that they weren't very good,
well,
it kind of shat on the whole division.
Yeah, and also I know Peyton Royce came out and said that she asked to be split from the Iconics, which I thought was also not spoken about loud enough because the amount of people, and this just is, I just believe in a fairness and I believe in my bias is always right. And I feel like when they split the Iconics, everyone was just shitting on WWE. How dare they? How could they? What, this is why they're horrible. But when Peyton Royce came out and said, I asked specifically to split up the tag team because I wanted it to be split up, you didn't have a whole lot of people say, oh, okay, well, then at least they got what they wanted. It was like a real weird, like everyone's just kind of crickets. And I was like, sometimes you take those risks because the talent wants that risk, and I think that's actually a good thing. I think although they split them up and that ultimately was bad for them, I think it's really good that they split them up because that's what the talent wanted and gave them that shot. And if they fell on their face, they fell on their face, but they got the shot they were looking for, and that's a positive thing. That's good, you know?
When I think, I've been saying it for years, I just want factions in general.
That's true.
But I think if you have the women factions like they used to, the PCB and Team Bad, and I think there's one more, like
PMS.
Almost, if you had, those kind of cliques, I think the women's tag titles would actually, be compelling, like I said.
In my defense, anybody who's listening who wasn't a fan during the Attitude Era, PMS was a women's faction. It was called the Pretty Mean Sisters. I wasn't saying that to be a dick. I felt like for a second I thought Stephanie side-eyed me, like, what the fuck did he just say? Like, no, it was real. Swear to God, it was real.
Okay, first of all, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Who was we were thinking about? I mean, for one, Toxic Attraction's doing incredible in NXT. I'd like to see them come up together and be a dominating faction. We were thinking about one not that long ago. Oh, that's who it was. You were talking about Tiffany Stratton.
I'm coming.
She wants to see Tiffany Stratton teamed up with like a Carmella. Oh, hold on. Oh, okay, whoa.
She wants to say it herself.
She's got to say it herself.
Okay.
She's a strong, independent woman.
I am. Thank you. I need to see Tiffany Stratton paired up with Carmella and Zelina because this woman is an athlete. She's a trained Olympian, and she kicks ass. She's great on the mic. She knows what to do on social media. She's a great heel. Like, this woman's got it. Like,
can she stand on the mic next to Carmella and Zelina?
Yes.
Okay.
And that is
Okay.
I think that's a really tall order. Like,
That's
I was
a tall
shocked.
order.
I was shocked at how much I like this woman. I was like, I don't know who this is, but she's got my attention, and I hate her, but I also kind of love her. Like, and she's got that obnoxious, I'm pretty, like, you're nothing, I'm pretty, go away kind of vibe, which is totally Carmella's obnoxious vibe.
This is true.
And I just think they could all elevate each other. And I think, yeah, what better way, right, to bring in fresh blood? Like,
There's been a faction I'm vying for, guys.
Yeah, like, especially knowing that this is talent that doesn't have, that indie experience. Like, she was a gymnast, and look at Alexa. Alexa was a gymnast. Like, I just think it's so cool to have such a diverse background. Like, some people are dancers, some people are cheerleaders, some people, like, I just love that. I love that not everyone came up the stereotypical, like, oh, you got to work the indies and you got to do this and you got to, like, not everyone's the same. Like, I just think that's
I think you get a fresher mindset with that too. You get like a non-convoluted mindset where it's a pure athleticism mindset could be something that could be harnessed very well, where an indie mindset could be very much, I want to do what I've always imagined I do wrestling wise, where I think with the athletes, a lot of times I'm trying to compete at a high level, and it's not about, that get my shit in mentality, which I think comes from the indies. So I think there's pluses and minuses, obviously. Like, you get Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn because of the indies, but you also get Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar because of just pure athleticism. So I feel like that, you're looking at just named 4 people off the top of my head that kind of goes, all right, well, which one do we go for? It's like, well, I wouldn't turn away any 4 of those. So I think you just harness the right attitudes. And I do think Tiffany Stratton is she's a force. She reminds me of Ricochet in a lot of ways. She's kind of a Ricochet meets Austin Theory in my mind. Because Austin Theory is one that I find absolutely obnoxious. And I think that part of that is because I'm an old man and I go, that selfie-taking son of a bitch.
But I think Naomi and Carmella are my favorites, not just because they have that dancing background, because they were cheerleaders, but they're like straight up athletes. Like, you can't deny how athletic they are. And it shows, and they really just shine through. And I just think that's so cool. Like, I love strong women. Love Bianca looking strong, and I'm just like all about that. So yeah, I say let's get her going.
Yeah, Bianca's
They have a good mix of that.
Go ahead.
Other sports backgrounds, right? I think Bianca was a track athlete.
Yep.
I don't know. I do like that you have your MMA, UFC guys who came over, and then you have, you know, guys and gals, excuse me, who came over, and then you have all these other sports, and then you have people who just straight up came up from the indies. So I don't know, they have a great mix of everything. What did she just open? What was that?
Sorry, I am now having a truly classic lime hard seltzer margarita style.
Yeah, they got margarita style now. It has agave sweetener in it.
They're pretty good.
That sounds good.
But yeah, I also think of it more on the terms of casual viewers, because that's kind of what I still consider myself. I've only been watching for 5 years maybe. Like, what?
I haven't missed a show in 5 years. Pre-casual.
No, but like, I
mean,
I
apart
don't
from
know if that's
sleeping
considered
through
the casual anymore, girl.
Well, but I also like, I haven't watched all the history.
She also falls asleep through a lot. So.
I haven't even watched all the history. I was just talking to someone about this the other day, like, because people were gatekeeping the whole CM Punk Ring of Honor thing. I had no clue what the entrance music was. I had no clue what it meant until I went online and someone said, holy crap, he's using his Ring of Honor entrance and his gear. And I was like, as a wrestling fan, hey, that's pretty freaking cool. That's awesome, right? I didn't know that. I had absolutely no clue. And I'm okay not knowing. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. And that doesn't make me any less of a wrestling fan.
I think
you don't have time to know everything. I'm sorry. You don't have time for it. Totally. I don't have time for it.
But I do think it also, like, it can attract the casual viewer when you have people from different backgrounds, like, especially the more athletic backgrounds. So if you've got someone that, you know, has maybe like never had an interest in wrestling, they turn it on, they see this athleticism, they'll be like, oh wow, like, you can't just, like, nobody, not just anyone can do this.
Right.
You know, like, I think there's a level of, like, I don't know, credibility there in a sense.
I was talking about it recently, just to be petty. But the idea that you see the athletes in WWE specifically, and it's this looking up to, and I want to become that, and I wish someday to be that good, where you see some of I think it's part of why Vince said that the reason he doesn't say pro wrestler or wrestling is because everyone's a pro wrestler, whether they're good or bad, and everyone puts on a wrestling show, but not everyone can be a WWE superstar. Doesn't that mean more? Doesn't it sound better? And it is. It's an elevated sense where you watch, like, Bianca, and little girls, I imagine, look at her and say, I hope to be that good someday. I want to do that someday. I want to work towards that, where a lot of these other, like, indie wrestlers or local wrestlers you see, and the thought is, I can do that now. Like, I want to go in the ring because I already can that.
I can jump on some thumbtacks. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think there's a whole different mentality in there. And I think,
no. Yeah. Can I? Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I can fall over. I can fall over. But yeah, it's just a different mentality, and I think that I do think it muddles a little bit of the scene that we see, but I think that's why you're starting to see turnover in both companies at this point, because now we're trying to weave through all that, because a lot of people go, well, if that person's on TV, then I'm surely good enough to be on TV. And you go, well, we didn't want to keep it at that level.
Yeah. So, and I love that so many of the women, maybe the ones that aren't like super buff, like they all work their asses off. And like even Carmella, like if you've been following her, like you might not know this, but she like, you know, is a total work hard, play hard person. Like she's constantly working out. It's like a daily thing, like hardcore. And I just think that's like really cool, and not enough people give them credit for how much they work.
Absolutely.
Sorry, that's my soapbox. I'm done.
Kev, Raw opened up with, because I just wanted to get the mid-card title. I wanted to have a conversation about it because I've been seeing it a lot lately, and I'm going like, but that already is there. But you know, so I just wanted to have a conversation to get the other side, because it's all about conversations and the drinks and who you're drinking with.
What?
You could have just responded to my Twitter post.
You could have responded to her Twitter post. Did you not hear her?
Nope.
Oh, hold on. Marsh has to get his audio back.
I apparently have lost audio.
He cannot hear you, Steph. Let's not try to ignore you.
I'm like, dang, he really didn't respond to my Twitter post, did he?
It's a technical difficulty. Take a drink.
Take a drink. Technical difficulties. Oh right, she's having a drink right there. Let me do this. I think we're back.
Okay, now ask him stuff.
Yeah, say something.
Stephanie?
Anybody?
Hello?
Hello. I'm here.
Just kidding. No. So,
There it goes.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
Clear
Can
as
you hear me?
Verizon.
I can't hear anyone.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay. Hold on. There we go. How about now?
Yes, now I hear.
Okay.
Hello?
now I hear- Yeah, we're all good.
Now
Fixed.
we're good.
All right. Take a drink. Technical
back.
difficulties. It's only episode 1. Everybody calm down. It's only episode 1.
It's because you got up and got a refill on the drink. You did something. I don't know what.
Yeah, she did that.
No, I was just you mentioned the mid-card thing. You were like, I've been seeing it a lot. I just wanted to say there's already one. I'm like, you could have just responded to my Twitter post.
Yeah, I could have, but I knew you were coming.
We could have argued on Twitter,
and
and then I could have blocked you about it.
yeah.
Because everything is very serious on Twitter.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's real life for sure. I was talking to somebody the other day where they're like, "Oh, I feel like there's an age limit to Twitter. You shouldn't be on at a certain age." And I was like, "No, it's just at a certain age you have to realize that you're the oldest one in the conversation, and it becomes a lot easier to handle when you realize you're speaking to children."
Yes.
You go, oh, "Okay, well."
The moment you realize there are children in this in the conversation, you go, let me just nod.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Whatever you say. Whatever
Okay.
you say.
I almost
Okay.
got on Twitter for the show to start our Twitter page, and I had to like ask Marsh. I was like, "What is this back and forth? What is this, like Yahoo chat?" Like, he's like, "Yeah, pretty much." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. I was like, exactly. It was the
Now I
AOL
get
chat
it.
days. Yeah.
I'm not 15 anymore. Is the thing.
Yeah. That's why you just don't take things too seriously. And if somebody's like way too diehard, I give them the old mute, let them talk to themselves, and let that be that. Like, if you're not trying to have the conversation, I'm not trying to listen to you rant. Like,
I really liked what Roman Reigns did. Why would you like that? I'm like, all right, at this point, we're going to go ahead and mute you.
Yeah.
Have a great day. Not because you don't agree, but because you're yelling on Twitter. And that's a problem for me. So,
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so it did open up with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins promo that I really enjoyed, and ultimately we ended up with a tag match of RK Bro, Alpha Academy. Dude, the new Alpha Academy entrance, shoosh,
So good.
please shoosh.
So funny.
I got the shirt and everything, guys.
It's so good.
I got the shoe shirt. I had to.
Thank you.
I'm so happy for Gable. Like, just to think, what was it, like a year or two ago? He was Shorty G, and everyone was shitting on him. Like, the fact that he's just like, all right, let's do something else. Like, this dude is just so good, and I'm just so happy for him.
They were shitting
They're-
on him because
they're
shit
giving
rolls
him
downhill and he
time.
was short.
Even Hill Otis has been more likable.
Oh.
They're actually like letting him show some personality a little bit up against Gable, and it's just this whole tag team. I love them. I love them. Love them.
Without even knowing or sharing with us that team has a history. They didn't even
Yes.
open with that. They just gave us these new characters and let them work. That's wild.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, Kev, what did you think of this opening segment and this tag match?
The tag match was awesome. Like, I couldn't take my eyes off of it. Like,
Oh, I was blown away.
pretty much all. Yeah, that's all you can really say about that.
Stephanie, what do you think?
I mean, it was magnificent. It took up, I think, almost like 4 or 5 segments, and I could have probably watched another 4 or 5 segments. Like the talent that was in that match is unmatched. Like I enjoyed every bit of it. I mean, the moonsault into the RKO. Like it was.
Yeah, that was sick.
It was just great. I absolutely loved it. I loved every bit of it.
Yeah, I was super excited. Were you guys surprised that RK Bro won? Because I was. I really thought it was either Alpha Academy was going to hold on or that Seth and Kevin would get it. Obviously,
I knew Seth and Kevin
sense.
weren't. I knew they weren't because they're working on their character. This is a character arc, especially for Seth Rollins. Obviously, setting up KO and Austin, but I thought Alpha Academy was going to go in the Mania after cutting that promo about we've never been the Mania, we've never been part of Mania. So I thought for sure they were gonna, go in it. But you can't go wrong with putting the title on Randy, right? Like he has the name. you're thinking about Mania and trying to sell casual tickets. Randy Orton, so it makes sense to have the title on him, and his name is now up there. Orton, RK Bro, at WrestleMania, and it'll sell some tickets. So,
yeah, oh for sure. I just thought because obviously Seth and Kevin are going the directions they're going at this point. I also wouldn't have been shocked for a second if they had them win those tag titles and then do something wild on the way to WrestleMania still, or. It couldn't have hurt their characters. So I was in the mind, it's like, well, do they win it and go wild with these titles and then lose it right before as some sort of weird thing? Or we're getting close to the date, but we still have time to move. I didn't see it going back to RK Bro. I just didn't. Kev, did you have a feeling it was going to go to them or what?
Kind of Steph said, you need to get Randy there and it just, they're the more popular tag team out of the three. So, I wasn't shocked. I wanted it. I love RK Bro, and especially that little promo afterwards with Randy,
gushing,
just saying how much he's having fun and this is awesome. And he's gonna say the F word.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he was about to tongue Matt Riddle, but it was pretty good. Yeah. Let's see, 24/7 Championship. We talked about a little bit. What do you guys think of the Miz and Logan Paul stuff?
Don't care about it.
It's not for me, but it will bring. I think Logan Paul has 30 million followers or something. It's for that.
Yeah.
It's to bring in his audience into Mania and wrestling. So.
Yeah.
I get it business wise. It's not for me. I love Miz.
Okay.
I'm a big Miz fan, but
Okay. All right. My theory on that is I think that maybe because we're having to build backwards on it, they announced the match and now we're trying to get invested, and I think that also makes it land flat. Because I do think the same thing. The only other things we hadn't talked about, Kev, I wanted your opinion on Ciampa and Braun Breaker. I don't think you've seen much of them at all because you don't watch NXT. And then the only other thing was Balor winning the title. Kev, what do you think of Ciampa and Braun? Because I know Stephanie likes them.
I've seen them in NXT, and I, obviously both of them a lot. Yeah, but I didn't see what happened. I watched the Hulu version of Raw, so that was all cut.
All right. Well, you missed Braun Breaker looking like a badass against Ziggler and Rude, which was awesome. Edge cut a promo that was cool. We already talked about Rhea and Liv. Finn Balor getting the U.S. title. I thought he was buried forever. They told me that they buried him forever. He was.
There were no plans.
There's no plans
for him.
I'm stoked. I thought he was going to AEW.
Yeah, he's going to AEW for sure, no doubt. Do you guys think we're going to get Damian Priest, Finn Balor 1-on-1 at Mania?
Yep.
Yeah.
Some people have speculated we get Demon Balor.
That's kind of what I think we're doing. I feel like we're going to get Damon versus Damian. And I wouldn't be shocked if they gave Damian Priest the massive rub of being the first person to beat the Demon.
Well, he's not. Roman did.
No, God beat the Demon in that one. It was an act of God.
The rope snap.
Yeah, the rope snap.
That was never explained.
Yeah, that's how you know it was an act of God. It was struck by lightning, might as well have been. That was... but I wouldn't be surprised if Damian actually got the win over him to do a thing, but I agree. Do you think that or the IC title ends up in a ladder match?
I think the IC title will end up in a ladder match.
Okay.
It's Ricochet. The moment to see Ricochet, they're like, ladder.
Oh.
Get a ladder out there.
That's, yeah.
It's a given. I'm almost sure it's going to be a ladder match.
As soon as you said it out loud, I felt like a moron. You're like, Ricochet has it. Okay, all right, well, all right.
Ricochet, put a ladder in the ring. Okay.
Yeah, put a ladder in there and let him see what he does.
Always lands on his feet. It's fine.
Yeah, it's Puma.
It's fine.
Anything else you guys want to talk about on the shows? I think it's kind of it I had for the week. Oh, Stone Cold and KO. You guys excited about this?
Stone Cold and KO. Absolutely. If you're not excited about this, you just want to hate things, okay? I don't care if you want to see Austin, if you don't want to see Austin. Look, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm going to need you to be hype.
Yeah.
I need you to be hype. And get it some beers.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think
He's gonna whoop some candy ass.
I think it's gonna be amazing. My brother's been complaining about it nonstop, and I was like, I don't get it. He's a huge Stone Cold dude. It's his absolute favorite wrestler, and he's like, I just don't think I need to see him in another match. I was like, this isn't like a thing. This is just he's going out to Texas to do some badass shit after 20 years.
He's going to kick KO's behind, share some beers with I don't know who, and it's going to be nostalgic and fun.
It's gonna be great. It's literally what WrestleMania is all about.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, we have, other companies with people who are just like older, so I don't see why people are getting all up in arms about this.
And Stone Cold wasn't by the end of his career.
If
he
you
was just
can
a
be
puncher and
excited for
kicker.
CM Punk to return after 15 years, if you can get excited for Sting to be wrestling consistently
and
after
jumping into
I don't
tables
know how
for no
many years,
reason.
Yeah, doing dangerous spots.
then I think you should be okay with Stone Cold Steve Austin coming back for WrestleMania in Texas, his home state, to do the KO show, whatever that turns into.
Which I also love. That was
But
the egg on the
keep the
face for Meltzer.
same energy.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the confusing part for me, is that they don't say it's a match, they say it's a KO show, but then they keep talking about 19 years.
They don't want you to know. It's a surprise.
Got to tune in.
It's just like
He's trying to figure it out.
Austin said,
confusing.
whatever you want to call it, a KO show, a match, a whoop ass whipping, right? He doesn't care. He's just there to go kick his ass. That's it.
The great state of Texas.
Yeah.
Throw a beer at his head on the WrestleMania sign. Whatever it turns out to be.
Yeah, I don't see this as I can't think of an actual negative, because by the time Stone Cold was even done wrestling, he was just throwing punches and kicks anyways. Like, he's got a perfect style for this exact thing. Kev, are you stoked about it, or you think that you'd rather he just stay retired?
No,
Some people want a full-on run.
about it. Like, I want to watch it. I want to see where it goes.
Are you gonna pop when the glass shatters?
Yes.
I don't know yet.
It's gonna feel good. It's gonna feel real
I'm
good.
gonna be excited. Like I don't know. When I think of pops, it's like surprises, and obviously it's not a surprise. But yeah, I'm trying to make sense of it, because, like I said, it's very confusing right now.
Yeah.
It's the KO show. It's a match. It's not. They're
For
just
Kev,
gonna fight.
Kev needs to know absolutely nothing to get a pop out of Kev.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's gonna be blindsided.
Yeah.
I love it. I thought the promo that Stone Cold cut online for it was absolutely incredible.
I loved it. Yeah.
I like that people were even trying to shit on that. They're like, "Was he got a helicopter crew and a fucking drone all of a sudden?" Like,
Probably.
maybe
He's a millionaire.
he's
Why
fucking Stone
wouldn't he?
Cold. Yeah. If Stone Cold
Did they
called the
never
helicopter,
watch his show? He has like all sorts of toys on his land.
yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked.
He's a businessman. He's got his own beer line. Like,
Also, if you own a helicopter company and Stone Cold gives you a call and say, "I need a helicopter today," you bring him a helicopter today.
it's not unheard of. We've been in a
It's
helicopter.
so cold. I need a helicopter. All right.
Yeah, that can be
Goddamn
done.
right.
Yeah.
You don't even gotta pay us. Just sponsor us. Thanks.
Just talk good about our helicopter. So yeah, I thought it's absolutely hysterical to me, the amount of people who are trying to shit on the concept of Stone Cold doing something fun at WrestleMania in Dallas. Fuck off.
Why would WWE do that? I'm like, Stone Cold's not gonna do it if he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
He clearly wants to. It's gonna be okay, folks. Again, keep the same energy. If you're excited about Sting and CM Punk, you need to be excited about Austin. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
And I hope you guys were pissed off when Muhammad Ali was a referee in the first WrestleMania, because this isn't a huge diversion of what they've always done.
People don't know
They
the
bring back
history.
people.
People don't know the history, so they're not.
Paul
gonna know
Orndorff was in WrestleMania 1 for no reason. He had a fucking wonky.
They
arm.
know. They know.
Yeah, but
They just the anti WWE folk just want something to be pissed about, and
they can't stand.
Stone
that we
Cold apparently
win.
is it.
Just kidding.
And I'm excited that it's 2 days.
It's 2 days. It'll be
I
good.
think that's cool.
Oh,
It'll be
I
good.
just hope
It
they
sounds like
keep
we're doing-
it. I love that format. 1 day is just too long. It's too long.
It's too much.
They've done it forever. Mania has gotten longer. 2 days, give people a break, go home, drink, come back drunk, and enjoy the second day.
Yeah, and it sounds like we're going to be doing a drink along for WrestleMania. I've already got people reached out who want to be a part of it, so I have to figure that out to see how we're going to play that out. So Kev, I'll be in touch with you as well.
I
And
like
if
how
you
I wasn't
haven't-
invited, but it's okay.
We just found out the other day. We'll see if you want to do it.
Yeah, I didn't even know about this till right now.
She didn't know
So,
yet. I found out like yesterday.
I found out right now.
The last
only
one to
episode
find
one.
these things out.
It's only episode 1.
If you haven't watched Corey and Carmela, you should. They're very short episodes on YouTube.
Yeah.
Very fun. Very cool.
I've not watched them actually. Not yet.
Really?
I planned on it. I just haven't gotten around to it.
They're very, 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 very short.
Is it funny? Is it cute?
Yes. It's really funny.
Okay.
I have been one of the long-standing Bear With Us podcast followers, so I know how they are outside of of WWE. And obviously I've been following Carmella since like Total Divas and all that. But yeah, it's a really fun show. The first episode I think was like 11 minutes, like super short.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can
watch
watch them real quick.
You can watch them on like bathroom breaks. Yeah,
I think you can see them all, and you watch the whole series beginning to end.
It was like a
less than an hour.
45-minute situation. I'm like,
No.
I don't have 45 minutes. I don't know what to do.
It's like 11 minutes.
I just thought it was so cool too that it was pretty much like from their podcast. Someone found them and they were like, "Hey, you guys, we're part of this media company. This would be really cool if you did this series." And they worked on it with WWE, went to them and said, "This is what we've got. What do you guys think?" So it's like a really cool collaboration, I thought, just working with the company and
Nice.
not demanding this is what we want. But so it's kind of like a labor of love, just like
Good for them.
seeing where this goes, So super happy for them.
Good for them. Yeah, I gotta check it out then.
Yep, definitely should.
I've been meaning to. I just haven't done it yet. So.
Yeah, write it down. Kev, anything else you wanted to hit on before we wrap it up?
Carmella and Corey.
Nope.
Corey and Carmella.
She'll find it.
Okay.
She'll still find it.
Okay. There's a hashtag. What?
There's a hashtag. So if you hashtag it, you gotta reverse it. Stephanie, was there anything else you wanted to throw out there about the shows?
Not really. Obviously, I think you guys know
Tell 'em about
I'm
yours.
behind Becky and Bianca. The storyline is great. I'm excited to see where it goes next. Obviously, Becky was injured, but she'll be back. Didn't stop her from cutting a promo, so I'm excited to see where it goes.
Becky doesn't even need a throat to have a promo. It's amazing.
No voice wasn't gonna stop her from talking shit.
Nope.
Like I should have known.
Yeah. It was incredible. Did they even air it on their show, or is it strictly the Twitter thing?
They didn't.
It was
They
strictly on
didn't.
Twitter, right?
They wouldn't. They would not. Well, getting into details, they would not put her on Raw, but she decided she was going to get a message out there anyway. So
which is amazing.
Yeah. Dope.
Yeah, you can't stop her from talking shit. Stephanie, speaking of talking shit, tell people how to find you one more time.
Okay. Hell of an intro.
What?
I'm like,
It's transition.
should I be offended? No. No. You can find me on Twitter at StephanieHypez with a Z, Hypes. And you can follow me on our podcast at Worked with SNS.
Yep. Worked with SS. With us today, as per usual, has been at Kevlar on the Rocks with an X. I'm at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR the show. We're gonna be back tomorrow night right here in the dive bar of the IWC for a brand new episode 1. Guys, that's last call.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.